challenge here tonight, matching up against what John Cooper's able to throw at you?
Yeah, he's got a lot of weapons out there. They're a very good team, very well coached. They play a great game. They're fast and skilled. And, you know, we've talked a lot about our team, though. We have to be able to play our game, play with that energy, play with that focus. And I think that if we have to worry about us doing what we want to do and do it as best to our ability, and if we can do that, we can be in the game. We can beat people. We can play that way. We need consistency, and that's what we're looking for.
They're calling them a 1A, 1B in terms of their top two lines. How do you view that second line? That's really not a second line.
Yeah, I mean, we see that, you know, there's going to be dangerous lines and teams that have that. We just look at them as a whole. We're again not built totally that we're going to have one checking line or that kind of thing. We're not built that way as well. So, you know, we have to use multiple lines against lines, and we'll see if somebody's not playing as well against one line, we'll move those guys, and then we just try to stay and keep playing our game, and so we can take them out of theirs.
Gardner with Finnef, what have you seen from Jake's game of late? Do you feel like, despite everything, he's progressing this season as a young defenseman?
I think, especially as recently, I think he's played fairly well. You know, he's been very elusive when he's down low. He's still, there's parts of the game where we'd like to see him continue to improve. But I thought last game him and Dion played well. And Dion going back into the right side, he hasn't done since probably last year. And I thought they played fairly well together.
Is this a chance for Jake to make a statement with a top pairing type responsibility down the stretch of this season? A good way to motivate him?
Well, I think that they should have that. They should want to be in that role where they're playing against the best competition. And as we know, this team has two lines with good competition. So they're going to see lots of it. And, you know, he's seen it before, and it's about having that willingness to want to be on and not having off minutes, not losing focus, not losing shifts where he's not at his best. So that's part of being, you know, one of the best defensemen. You have to be at your best all the time.
I'm not sure if you're taking tomorrow off or not, but it may be a full week before you get a full practice in with all these new guys. What's that been like?
Yeah, it's always a little difficult. You're managing whether or not you have energy and travel. And we had a couple late nights with our planes and having plane trouble, and so we got in at 4 in the morning one night and, you know, 3 in the morning the next night. So it makes it a little challenging. So you covet practice time as much as you can, but you also have to be rested and ready to play. And so getting new guys at this time, we've spent a lot of time on chalkboards and video and computers and showing them, but they're all wanting to be at their best, so that they're putting their best foot forward.
Steve Staves was saying yesterday you had a Brewer who is obviously very veteran-oriented. He's done a lot. He's going to be able to pass something on to these guys.
Absolutely. I mean, that's part of the key part that he's going to bring down the stretch here is some of that veteran experience, being a good leader in the room, having another voice, going through those experiences. When it's tough, that's when your leadership steps up. And he's the type of guy for the young players that could pass on some really good messages, and we expect and hope that that's the case.
Getting back to Jake, go ahead, Kevin.
You talked about Jake and the way he's grown the last couple of weeks. How about Morgan Riley and the way he sort of played through all the distractions as well?
I mean, they both have gone through periods where they've been really exceptional, and he's played against the top lines. Like, he got morphed in there, especially when Dion was hurt, and him and Roman were playing against the other team's top competition, and he got a good experience doing that. And that's what they're gaining right now. Both him, Jake, playing at their best, and in different nights they've been really, really good. And I think that Jake the last few games has been exceptional, and especially in certain areas of it. And Morgan, you know, I think sometimes, you know, they ride this cycle, and hopefully you want to keep it even keel, where he's always on. His energy is good, his focus is good, and Morgan always can skate, and he always has good skills. It's his, you know, keeping his mind sharp.
Peter, we just got the note that Richard Panik has been fined for diving. I'm just wondering, would you talk to a player?
Yeah, I already talked to him.
Getting a reputation?
I already talked to him, and I don't really think he has a reputation. He was aware when I talked to him about it. He just smiled and said, "I know." He kind of knew it was coming, I think, and you know, he's a good player, and he's a young player that's been put in a lot of positive situations as well right now. He's playing against top competition, and these are good lessons for him too. And I don't look at him as one of those guys who are diving. I think he's just a competitive young man.
What kind of mindset do you want some of those young guys to have in the final 17, 18 games? Like, what should their approach be?
Well, I think it's kind of like what we've been talking about is this team-focused, intense team. Like, we're not going to go in and sit down. We want to come out and we want to play hard and we want to try to win these games. We want to prove things and prove things to ourselves. We want to create that continued culture of a hard together kind of attitude where guys are going to lean on each other, they're going to be accountable to each other, they're going to speak up to each other, where they're going to culture and foster a kind of an attitude that we're a team that can produce and put it on the line.
Robida and Eriksson, illness or?
Yeah, both of them. Eriksson especially has been up kind of all night a little bit, but I don't need to go through all those details. But Roby was just given an afternoon maintenance day, so he'll be here tonight and be available.
Eriksson not available?
We don't know.
Okay.
He didn't come in today because we don't want to get everybody else in a wrong place. So we want to keep everybody as healthy as possible, and hopefully he'll be available when we get here tonight.
There you go.